Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys remember my last video that I made about Nia DaCosta and the Marvels, she came out and she attacked basically everybody who had something bad to say about the movie. She tried to essentially hide it or mask it by saying, oh, no, it's not all criticism. It's just some of the criticism, even though the only criticism that she's okay with hearing is not really criticism at the end of the day. It's actually people just agreeing with her for the most part. It might disagree on one thing, and that's basically it. But if you hate her movie, or if you dislike her movie in the vast majority of it, then she's going to basically call you a racist, a homophobe, all this other stuff that she could possibly throw at you because these are buzzwords that they rely on. Now, we have an article here from Fansided that says the Marvel's director was accused of abandoning the film before the production wrapped. Yes, this same person that called you a racist, a bigot, and a homophobe for not liking her movie, she is also being accused of abandoning this same exact movie. So let's get into this article, guys, from Fansided. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into the YouTube algorithm. It says the Marvels finally graced the big screen this week, making a momentous event in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Momentous, sure. However, the journey to this much anticipated release has been marred by a series of controversies. Among the storm of stories, one particular accusation stands out. Director Nia DaCosta has been accused of abandoning the film during post-production, casting a shadow over the movie's creation. This accusation sparked a wave of speculation and concern among fans and industry enthusiasts. DaCosta, in response, has addressed the allegations, offering her own insights and reasons for her departure of the project. Now, I just find it pretty funny that this article is trying to make it seem like this movie was highly anticipated. Like, it's very clear, all right? It's very clear from the numbers that this movie is doing that it was anything but highly anticipated. Nobody wanted to see this movie, and that is the reason why we're being called racist, bigots, homophobes, and everything under the sun, is because it's very obvious we don't like this movie. We don't like the movie, what the movie represents, right? We don't like what it stands for, and it's very clear that these people feel like you are a racist or a bigot if you don't agree with them or agree with the movie in any sort of way. So to call this film highly anticipated, I think, is definitely a stretch. It says, while the MCU continues to thrive on screen... What? What? The MCU thriving on screen? What are we talking about, Fansided? Like, are you serious right now? The MCU hasn't thrived on screen since literally Phase 3. It had maybe 1 or 2 hits within Phase 4, but that's basically it. The TV shows have bombed. The movies have bombed for the most part. What kind of thriving are we seeing on screen? I'm not really sure here. But it says behind-the-scenes drama has captivated attention. Join us as we delve into the heart of the matter, blah, blah, blah. So it says, as the Marvel Cinematic Universe navigates through a series of on-screen disappointments, a high-profile legal scandal, budget cuts, major delays, and questions about its ambitious strategy, it finds itself in a precarious position. A recent Variety article has shed light on these hurdles, painting a complex picture of the MCU's current state. At the forefront of the MCU woes is the upcoming high-profile trial in New York involving Jonathan Majors, known for his role as Kang, a figure poised to lead the next phase of the MCU. Now, I actually have a video coming out about Kang, so stay tuned for that. I should be releasing it after this video. That'll be at 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, the same day that this video goes live, so make sure you guys watch it. Then it says, adding to the MCU's challenges on major budget cuts and delays, etc., etc., etc. So here's the reason why it seems like she left. It says, contrary to recent reports, Nia DaCosta is eager to clarify that her departure during post-production for the Marvels was not as dramatic as it might appear in the media. In an interview with Jake's Take on YouTube, the acclaimed filmmaker offered her side of the story, shedding light on the complexities of the situation. She explained that the film's release date was moved 4 times, extending what was initially a 2-year process into a 3.5-year, significantly impacting her personal and professional plans, DaCosta revealed. So here's the quote from the actual YouTube video where this interview took place. It says, for me, the issue is that they changed the date of the film 4 times, so instead of a 2-year process, which I was very committed to, it became a 3.5-year process. They knew that I had an obligation, a movie that had already been greenlit, and there was people waiting for me. I kept putting it off and putting it off. Eventually, we all knew that if the Marvels got postponed again, I wouldn't be able to be in LA in person to see it finished. Now, I can understand her reasoning for obviously having other obligations, okay? It's very clear that the Marvels was being delayed multiple times over and over and over again. It was ridiculous. This movie has been delayed more than any other movie that I could think of in recent times. And not only that, the budget has become so astronomical that they must have known that there's no way they were going to make their money back. There was no way. It's literally impossible. I cannot see this movie making its money back at all. There is literally no chance, especially since it's completely bombing in the box office right now, as everybody knew that it would. It had the worst opening for any MCU film in recent history, and it's going to do worse than some movies like The Flash, for example. I mean, those are movies that you don't want to be in company of if you're talking about box office numbers. So it's very clear that the Marvels, unfortunately, just got delayed over and over and over again. So yeah, Nia DaCosta did have to move on with her life, and unfortunately, that means that she's gonna have to walk away from the film and not even be around for when it releases. As of now, the full extent of the impact of Nia DaCosta's departure on the Marvels remains uncertain. However, her exit during the critical post-production phase, where the film undergoes editing, receives special effects, and takes its final form before release, raises legitimate concerns about potential disruptions to the movie's continuity and vision. With these questions in mind, we're eagerly preparing to experience the latest installment in the MCU. Yo, these people from Fanside are hilarious, man. Like, you're the only ones. You're trying to, it's very clear that Fanside is trying to maintain whatever access they have, or is trying to garner some sort of access that they probably don't have. But yeah, you're trying to do that. It's very clear. Now, speaking of this particular paragraph here, I find it very interesting. So the director, Nia DaCosta, wasn't even involved in the later series and the later portions of the film. So this movie was essentially directorless towards the end. That's how soon she left the film. She wasn't involved in the post-production phase, and she wasn't involved in editing or anything like that. So yeah, the vision of this film was probably changed quite a bit towards the end, especially when they were doing reshoots. It's very obvious that this woman had to leave. So this movie had no director, like towards the end of the movie. And you know what? That makes a lot of sense, because if you guys look at this movie, right? This movie is all over the place. The Marvels is literally all over the place. You could tell by the way that it was edited, they cut out a lot of footage from the film, a lot, okay? And by cutting out the footage from the film, a lot of things get muddied up. And if you don't know what you're doing and you don't have any sort of direction, it can get pretty messy pretty quickly. And that's exactly what happened with this film. The Marvels is literally all over the place. This movie clearly didn't have much direction when they had a director. And then now that the director left to go do whatever the hell she had to do after the fact, that just made it worse. That made it a lot worse. And that essentially left them high and dry to figure it out, so to speak. So between all the debacles with delays, budget cuts, and everything in the third, the Marvels clearly is just an example of what happens when you are not taking this movie seriously. This movie was not taken seriously by the people who were making it, and yet they call you a racist, a homophobe, or a bigot if you don't take it serious. But they couldn't even take this movie serious to pay a director to be on there from beginning to end. They had I just find that to be fucking hilarious. I really do. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it, and if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.